Rusty Nails from the Frankston party metal band Love Muscle, and you're here for my rig rundown. Let's start the rig rundown at the top of the signal chain with the axes. As you can see here, pretty uniform arrangement of guitars that I use for Love Muscle. All Ibanez, all maple fretboard, all Japanese made, all reverse headstock, all locking tremolo. These two here are the new Genesis range, the RG 565, and these are all just stock, straight out of the box. Hardly had to touch them to set them up. Maybe just bring the action down a little bit, but that's it. Out of the box, plug them in, they rock, straight up. This one here is a bit of a oddity. This is an RG 570 or 580 or RGR 580M, the maple neck, and this is from the, this is about a 98 I believe, and this has a non-standard pickup there. I don't know what it is because I bought it like that, and this plays like a dream as well. Pretty much just like the others. It's got the traditional wizard neck with the scarf joint, is it up the top? And whereas the new Genesis range have the volute at the top. And I actually find the modern ones play just that little bit better. They just seem more reliable, more solid in your hands.
So what about these reverse headstocks, Rusty? I see you favour those.
Well, yeah, indeed. I just think they look cool. There's really no playing difference. It looks cool on stage. It looks cool when you're playing it, when you're looking down the neck and you see that that headstock pointing coming at you rather than away from you. It just sort of has this. It just feels good to play it that way, and that's an appearance thing. Before I got onto these guitars, I was playing RG 550s, which, as viewers will know, has the more traditional downward pointing headstock, but still maple fretboard and blue dark colours.
Yeah, I noticed you favour the maple fretboard, so is there any particular reason for that?
I grew up playing a maple fretboard guitar and just never felt a need to go otherwise. Sometimes I did play an ebony fretboard for a little while on a different guitar, of course, and that was pretty cool. I've always found rosewood to have this sort of scratchy, harsh feel to it. Mm-hmm. Maybe I never oiled them enough, maybe they were a little dry, but I've always just felt comfortable on maple.
Well, these are beautiful guitars nonetheless. They, especially with that maple, they pop against that blue. Beautiful.
Thanks, man. Okay, where did guitar playing start for Rusty Nails? It was in fact a very long time ago, longer than I even care to admit to myself. But it all started with this guitar, which was my first real electric guitar that was bought for me when I was just a young tacker of 13 or 14, something like that years old, long time ago. And this is a Japanese Fender Stratocaster from 1985. It has a locking tremolo, locking behind the nut before they moved up to the locking nut. It has a Schala tremolo system with the Fender branding on it that only goes in one direction or a short way in the opposite direction. Single coil pickups and pretty much a standard Strat. However, the neck is very different compared to a regular Stratocaster. I didn't sort of realise at the time, but over the years I've sort of found that this has a more Super Strat style neck. It's very thin, very broad here compared to your regular Strat neck, and very flat, not so convex as a regular Strat neck. My father, who bought me this guitar, must have had very good advice, because he must have told the music store guys that what I was into and all that sort of business, and admittedly they knocked it out of the park with choosing this guitar. One of the downfalls, of course, is the single coil pickups. I was always interested in metal and hard rock, and I didn't know at the time, but I could never get the crunch that other people had who had humbuckers, and I never sort of realised. It was always a bit of a sore spot with me. But I loved playing this guitar. I played the living snot out of it, and it still looks pretty bloody good all these years later. It's in bloody good nick, and although I don't play much these days, I do love the hell out of this guitar. I was always, my father and I, sort of more traditionalists. One option at the time that a lot of players did was put hot rails, the single coil humbucking, single coil size humbucker in all positions, but we were just too traditionalist to sort of tamper with a Fender Stratocaster. I did say at the outset that it's Japanese Strat. At the time, that was considered less than. If you can believe it, the Japanese Strat was considered less than an American Strat. But playing wise, this thing this topped anything I ever played at the time. Loved it to bits.
Rusty, so this is your Super Strat. So you moved on to this?
I moved on to the Ibanez RG 550. I have a few examples of this. This is one of the nicer of my older run RGs, being a 92. I moved on to Ibanez because you go to guitar stores and you play different guitars, and always with the Ibanez, they always felt that little bit different to the other guitars, especially because of their wizard neck. And I think because of the similarities with my Japanese Strat and the Japanese-made Ibanez, just seemed to fit how I played at the time, and felt comfortable with them straight away. This is the RG 550. Got into Ibanez. I used to have a Steve Vai poster on my bedroom wall when I was a young tacker. Famous picture of him in a deck chair with his green gem and his big silver cowboy boots, and they just looked awesome. This was, of course, the one of the cheaper versions, although being Japanese made is probably a little bit more than the base version, but still, it was probably the base Japanese version you can get at the time. And yeah, I solved that problem I mentioned before about the single coils by having the humbuckers in here. Full locking nut tremolo, got the Floyd Rose style floating trem. It's the RG 550. What else do you need to know? It is what it is. Maple fretboard, just like the Strat I grew up playing, and that's why I pretty much stick with it.
All right, Rusty, let's talk about your amps.
Okay, these are my babies, my crates. These go back to my days in Taekwondo many years ago, and today they're a little bit too, a little bit too cranky to take out on the hectic Love Muscle Tour schedule. We have at the top my favourite, the Crate Stealth. This is one of those amps that, if you know, you know. This thing crunches like nothing else and is all tube, all go, no woe. Underneath, we have the Crate GT200. This is a clever little amp. It has a stereo effects built in. I never really use that much, but can be useful. What I found cool about this amp is that it has both solid state and tube preamp stage on each channel.
Nice.
So on your clean channel you can have tube and solid state, and on your crunch channel you can have tube and solid state. Unfortunately, I always found that the crunch on the crunch channel on the GT200 just didn't match the stealth. And for those that, if they know, they know, they know. This cab here does say line 6, and a lot of the music communities or the guitar community is going to go, 13 line 6. but this is a stereo cab. You can play it as a mono cab, and it does have the vintage 30s in there. So it's just a cab.
Okay, so moving on to, I see you've got like a mini one here.
Okay, so here we have another Crate Stealth, and this is a Stealth 50, but this is chopped down off a combo, off a 12-inch single speaker combo.
Right.
I didn't chop it down. I bought it like this, and this thing absolutely canes so hard. It sounds just like this thing. But you get all that crunch at 50 watts rather than having to go to 100 watts to get it. And this is my favorite amp. I love this thing to death. I do find it a little tricky for Love Muscle's touring schedule. I mean, these are tube amps. This is a company that doesn't exist anymore, and I just find it's just a little too, I don't want to say fragile, but a little too special to me to have it fail.
I completely understand.
So for future recordings, you'll definitely hear this bastard. No problem about that whatsoever.
Now let's talk about your effects loop that you run through this.
Before we do that, let's talk about the cab.
Ah, yes.
This is the Sovtech 4x12 with the eminent speakers. Funnily enough, these were built in Preston, not too far, or a suburb of Melbourne that's on the other side of town to where we are now. But these things rock. These were reasonably popular in the 90s, and which seems the antithesis of Love Muscle. However, paired with the Crate, it just roars like nothing else. This is the setup. I just can't say anything else about it. What we do have though, in addition, we've got the effects.
All right.
Okay. Now, at the top of the chain, we've got a boost pedal. I've got the Ibanez LA Metal, which some might find that as an odd choice for a boost pedal, but I've got the gain or distortion down and the volume up. It's got a tone control, so it, you can dial in a good boost tone. And boost pedals get talked about a lot in the pedal community because they are the I call them the silent achiever of the pedal chain. They don't contribute a lot to the tone, but but what they do contribute is bloody important and is bloody awesome. But what they contribute most, I find, and this is what a lot of guitar channels don't talk about enough, probably because they can't demonstrate it, is it affects the feel of how you play and what you're hearing when you're listening back to what you're playing and how you adjust your playing to that. So boost pedals, awesome. There is a lot of talk on boost pedals about this pedal's the best, that pedal's the best. It's all rubbish. You find what's good for you and what works for your setup. LA Metal, no one uses this as a boost pedal. I do because it sounds fucking good.
Awesome.
Okay, these two effects are part of the effects loop, so that gets triggered in after the distortion. Here we have the Boss Digital Dimension, which many might recognise as being similar to the Dimension C and the Wazacraft Dimension C with the buttons. This is a very similar effect, a little bit different, but has dials rather than buttons. I always found that to be a little bit more, I could tailor the sound just that little bit more. I felt more comfortable getting the sound that I wanted using the dials rather than the buttons. So that's a digital chorus-like effect that is always on. Just like my boost, always on, that always on. This is a digital delay, and digital delay is a digital delay to me. This one's a particularly good one and has a few features, but I just tend to switch it on for solos just to make them pop out a little bit.
Right, beautiful.
And that's why I love that fucking crate stealth. Now we come to what I use in Love Muscle, and this is the business end of the rig for me. Where can I start? Well, we'll go at the top of the chain. We've got a boost pedal, of course. I said before how I love my boost pedals, and this is the Idiot Box Effects Dragon Sound pedal.
Sound.
This is the best boost pedal, clean boost pedal that I found for my setups and my playing style.
So you self-endorsed by Dragon Sound?
I am self-endorsed by Idiot Box Effects. Although, considering the name of that company, it should be a seamless fit with our band. So that's the boost, the clean boost. Now for the crunch that everyone likes. We've got the ADA MP1 that I use for tube crunch, lead, and solid state cleans. Not much to say about the AD1. You don't see many of these around. These are old, they're tube and solid state, and they sound friggin' awesome. And given the rack format and the easy switching capabilities, I find that this is a perfect fit for Love Muscle. I program in some patches that I use. So for example, 40 is my clean tone, 41 is standard crunch, 42's lead, and 43 I've got a sort of softer, lesser distortion type tone that I use in one of our tracks. So I can just sort of go up and back as I need for each track, almost like a regular amplifier, just the few settings and just go up and down. And I control that with this handy Tech 21 MIDI mouse, and it's just so easy just to go up and back. Love it. One of the fancy features that I found on this, and I'm not that experienced with rack gear to be honest, but you can switch in the effects loop on your patches. So for example, my crunch tone doesn't have the effects loop switched in, but if I one button up to the next patch, the effects loop kicks in and runs in both these effects.
Beautiful.
And what have we got in the effects loop? Again, it's another digital dimension, just like before. I've got 2 of these. Yes, I'm very proud. That is a flex. Right, and for this one, I've got the standard digital delay Boss DD3 classic pedal. Not to rat on digital pedals, but as I've got them set up, they're a bit of a muchness. I've pretty much chosen the Boss just for the handy cabling that matches with the digital dimension there. And that's it for the Love Muscle rig.
It's a great tone.
Great tone. So that's the clean tone on the ADA, but you can hear that it's not exactly clean. It is literally dripping in chorus and delay. And that's what we love here at Love Muscle. Things associated with Love Muscle, we are self-endorsed today by Beck's, brewed in Germany for that authentic flavour. Now, okay, the vocal side of Rusty Nails relies on the classic Shaw SM58, always getting confused with the 57, the Dario XLs. These are considered bog standard 9 to 46 strings, but in the last several years that I've been picked up my playing again, I have not busted a single string on those locking trems. Bloody perfect. And picks, Jim Dunlop, pretty thick at just over 1 millimeter, and I use these just because they've got that little scratchy grip thing. It's the only reason. I wish they had better colours because I drop them and can't find them again, but these are perfect, standard. Alright, what else have we got here? In this Frankston apartment, I record a lot of the, or we record a lot of the Love Muscle demos that we use for the band to share ideas and get stuff down so that we could practice it. And some of it even pops up on the Bass Manimal channel, that if you listen carefully, you'll hear some of it. Recording is often done through this puppy, which might look pretty strange to some people. This is a pressure zone microphone. And let's bring that out. You see here, there's a little capsule in here, in a little tiny space. The sound gets in and it's supposed to avoid all sorts of phase cancellations that you get with sound recording. And these are a bit of a, if you know, you know, kind of microphone. And I use these for guitar recording and also for vocal recording because they're bloody awesome.
Now that's excellent, Rusty, but one thing I've got to ask you about.
What's that?
I think the people are going to want to know what on earth is going on with this 2x12. The famous Love Muscle 2x12.
Okay, this 2x12 I bought on a, what we call Gumtree here in Australia. what do you call that overseas?
Like
Craigslist or something like that?
Yeah, Craigslist, that's the
something
one.
like that. And I bought this off a guy because I was looking for a 2x12 because I found that even as much as I love the 4, sometimes it's not the best in all situations. It's got the wheels on it, which is good, and importantly, which is what stuck out for me, other than the beautiful blue and yellow handles, which you might see over there, is that it runs Eminence speakers. They don't say Eminence on the front, of course, but if you're as close as I am, you can see that this one, you can see the red backing, which is associated with a particular line of Eminence speakers. And I find Eminence to be my preferred speaker.
Yeah, it's a good sound.
Thank you.
Well, I've been Manimal,
And I've been Rusty Nails.
and you've been watching the Bass Manimal, and this is Rusty Nails Rig Rundown. If you have any questions for Rusty, or anything you want to see, or anything more you want to know about, leave it in the comments below. Rusty will read the comments. We can get back to you, we can make more videos, we can go from there. Stay tuned to see some more rig rundowns on the Bass Manimal. But for now, I'm going to be listening to Love Muscle's greatest licks.